Today, we're going to address the topic of friend zone. This was another comment that came in. This works out really well, you guys. So, you guys send your little letters in and share your little thoughts and stuff, and then I can respond to it. This works really well because, see, then I don't have to think about what to talk about. I just answer your questions, so you will get more videos out of me this way. So, what I wanted to respond to was one of the channel visitors who asked about the friend zones. Like, why do guys not understand why they get friend zoned? And I thought, that's a good question. Although, again, I could have sworn I talked about this, but it's probably mixed in with some other video content and so whatever. So let's just make this whole video be about friend zoning. Now, what does a friend zone mean? This is basically a term that kind of encapsulates that someone was rejected romantically, but all contact wasn't cut off because the person that they were interested in really does think that they're a nice person and maybe enjoys their company and their intelligence, or maybe they have something in common, some common organization, they live in the same neighborhood or whatever. So the person that doesn't really, want to be with you accepts friendship or offers you friendship so that you can still be around them and they can still socialize with you and all of that. Now, I am of the mind that when offered friend zone ship, whatever you want to call it, only a narcissist would do that. Why? Because you know that you really want to be with that person on a different level than what they're offering, but you accept what they're offering versus nothing. And in the meantime, by continuing to talk to them and be around them and stuff, you never get to start healing from that desire. The wound stays open, and you're just like hanging on, waiting for some opportunity to drop into your lap where you think that person might realize how wonderful you are, or that the relationship will magically morph into more than what it is. And what you have to understand, when a woman puts you in the friend zone, 99.9% of the time, I have to leave that 0.1% because I'll go into that in a minute. 99.9% of the time, you don't turn her on. That's just the way it is. And guys think because they meet this, this checklist of what they think that a woman should want. I have a job. I'm not ugly. I have some money. I have a car. I have my own place. And, they had this little checklist. And you think that because you have those basic tenets of manhood, that a woman should, the woman that you want should automatically want you back because you offer these things. And what you guys keep forgetting, just like you want somebody that excites you, so do women. We want a man that we are excited to look at. That when we look at him and see him coming home from work or walking towards us, our heart starts beating a little faster. You feel a little breathless. You smile involuntarily. You can't wait to to touch him and rub on him, and for him to do the same to you. That is physical attraction. And without that component of a relationship, it's going to be extremely boring. And a lot of the troubles that you would have in a relationship, that is kind of like a glue that sticks you two together, and it's meant to be that way so that you can kind of weather some storms together of little fights that couples have and stuff. Whereas if you don't have that, the first opportunity you'll be like fuck it, and you'll be up and out going cheating, running around this and that, because you don't really have that glue that attaches you to that person romantically. And I can't even really describe, but I'm sure those of you who felt it know what I'm talking about. And that's not a reaction that you can get just with anybody. So when you have that with someone that you love and they love you back and you two feel that way about each other, it is fucking magical. And it's such a rare thing. So if a woman has had that, or if she's observed it in other couples, that she knows that that's what she wants to have for herself in a long-term relationship, even though you may be the nicest guy in the world, you can just be just one wonderful person, if you don't do it for her, then she's gonna put you in the friend zone. Now, what do you have to accept friend zone ship? No, you do not. Like I said, I think only a narcissist would want to do that to himself, because you're going to be around this woman that you like, right? And you're going to be hearing the stories about her going out with other dudes. And, I don't know, if she likes the dude and the dude likes her back, then you're going to get your feelings hurt, because she's going to be talking about all the wonderful things they did together and grinning. And he's going to be bringing her this happiness that you're jealous that you're not giving her. And it's just a position. You put yourself in a position where you're just going to get tortured every time you see this woman and every time you talk to her. Why would you do that to yourself? I don't understand it, because you see, Deb is like, if you don't like this, deuces, and I'm out. I don't want to be a fucking friend. I got enough friends. And it's the kind of thing that you really should be moving on to find someone who, like I said, feels that magical way about you, so that you can feel that way about them too. No relationship that's one-sided ever works out well for one of the people. Did they say that, relationship one person always loves more? Yeah, that might be true, but they're talking about, what is the Spanish word? Muy poquito. They're not talking about no, thing like this. She's up here and you're down here, or, vice versa. Those relationships never work out. They're out of balance. So, as far as the friend zone goes, and that 1% that I was talking about, this is where age and maturity come in. Now, a lot of the guys get mad though, because they're like, well, she didn't want me when we was young. Now she old and run through, and she got kids, this and that, and man. And so they, feel like, well, now they get to reject her. And I'm just thinking that's stupid, because they're not allowing for time and space. Because, like, even when you meet somebody, okay, and I'm reflecting on my own eventual marriage, I met him. The first picture of us together, he's leaned in like this, with his elbow on the table, and he's leaned in towards me, grinning this big grin like this. And I'm leaned back looking at him like this. The picture is hysterical, but it reflected my feelings at the time. It's like fell in love like instantly. I mean, as soon as he saw me, that was it for him. Well, for me, it took a couple of years for me to reach that point. So a man who doesn't have that kind of patience to wait for what he wants is never going to get it. So these guys get all upset and, all, I hate to use that word, bitter, but I guess at this point the best explanation, the term is embittered, actually. And because when they talk about these women, it's always with this angst and anger and rage that she didn't pick him when he wanted her to pick him. And that's not how life works. People will pick you when they're ready to pick you, and sometimes not at all. That's just the way that it is. So being in a friend zone in a situation like that, it's a gamble. If you can handle it, then go ahead and do it, especially if you guys are really young. Young girls don't necessarily have the best skill set when it comes to choosing a mate. As I've seen on my channel myself, these parents and the elders, men and women, do a piss poor job of educating their children and the children in their sphere about what to look for in a mate and how to be a good mate. That's just not happening. So people have to grow up. Unfortunately, during the period when they are growing up, sometimes they get involved with people who are predatory and, ruin them physically, give them babies and leave them and beat on them and, get them on drugs. I mean, all kind of stuff happens to people, to young people in relationships in their early stages. But if you really love somebody and you know that that's the person for you, then at some point in your heart, you have to let that stuff go. And if you can't do that, then just leave it alone. Don't talk about the person. Don't hang around the person. Don't be around the person. Don't wish bad for the person. Just move on. Just go do what you need to do. So that, to me, that's like the only time that maybe the person who was in the friend zone will put you in a friend zone, rather, will, let you come out of it and into their life in a relationship, because it's like, they finally grew up. They see you for what you are. They see how truly compatible the two of you are. And they're also, the other fact that you have to figure in there is just like she may have grown up and matured, so did you. So the person that you used to be, that she didn't like and only wanted to be in a friend zone, you're not that man anymore. There's two people involved here. So they always looking at, well, she. Look at yourself. How have you grown and changed? Some of you will go into the service for a few years, or you do things in your life to that improve your qualities of manhood, your qualities of communication, your body, your mind. You like go to school, you get some education in your head, stuff like that. So the man that you might be 4 or 5 years later, that she looks at him is like, wow, this he's pretty cool, versus who you were before that. That's a different person. So you get mad at her because she didn't choose you back then. Well, back then you wasn't shit. So I mean, just accept it. You grew up, and so did she. She changed and grew, and you changed and grew too. So now you two are a good match, whereas before you were not. So there's all kind of facets to this that I could be talking about this topic forever. But the main thing is, when someone tells you that they're not interested in you, and but we could be friends, and try to put you in the friend zone, you have to make a decision. Do you want to sit there and be their friend and hope and pray that something happens and that they default and choose you, or you can say, well, that's really good, and I appreciate you thinking of me that way, but I don't want to be your friend. I'm not trying to be friends with you. I have enough friends. I want something of a different nature. I was hoping you did too, but since you don't, let's just part ways. If I see you out and stuff, I mean, I'm not gonna like act a fool. I'll say hello and whatnot, but I don't want to get in any kind of rhythm where we're in constant contact and calling ourselves friends and buddies, when I want to be something more than that to you. And you don't have to say it with an attitude. You say it just like I said it just now. That is called being adult and communicating and understanding that you don't get everything you want in this world. You're not 2 years old, so get over it. And so that's a good segue to talk later, which I'm going to be doing as soon as I finish reading these 300 responses to the survey about men and rejection, because what I just said, a lot of guys can't handle that. They're not that mature, and they're going to act a complete fool and sometimes react with violence. So we'll be talking about that. Hopefully I'll be able to get all my thoughts together, read all the surveys, get my thoughts together within the next week or two, and get that video going. So those are my comments on the friend zone. Bottom line, don't do it to yourself. If that's what they tell you, just say, no, I'm not interested in that, and just move on. All right, Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com with another video on the romantic life of singles in the United States, because that's where I live, so that's what I talk about. Anybody else can benefit from it, feel free. Be sure to share videos. There's 300 and something to choose from here. Share video links with your friends, on your walls, on your Twitter, on your forums that you go to, with your family, your friends, your relatives, your sorors, your sorority brothers, all of that. Fraternity brothers, I'm sorry. And all of that, all right? Talk to you guys tomorrow.